What I want to talk about tonight, and I really swear these words just came to me before I opened my eyes. It was talk about what does it mean to love yourself. So I said, okay, that's a good one. Yeah, let's talk about that. Why don't we? What does it mean to love yourself? What is self-love? How does it do what it does? What does it mean? You know what I'm interested in is the truth. I am so over things that sound like the truth. You know, we have to really realize that we are geniuses and we are brilliant. And we have created a language that can say anything and mean nothing, you know, in terms of the truth. We have a way of saying things that have the right definition, but the wrong movement. Okay. And that's where we have to be careful, because when we as self-loving beings say something, we have to have the appropriate definition. And also, because that's a conceptual part, we know that things happen in two parts. We have the conceptual and experiential. We have to satisfy both of those when we say something. So we can't just say something and have the definition mean the total reality of what we have expressed. Because we know there's a walk involved. And if the walk isn't a part of our definition, then we're not telling the truth, really, are we? You know? I feel like it's real important for us to get to the nitty-gritty of the truth. It's like something that we will know so well, something that we will be able to sense, feel, understand, move with, communicate, express, share without a shimmer of a doubt as to what it is and what is happening. What I feel like, I know I said something last week about this energy and it just went all the way down. That's happening a lot. I have things happening on an energetic level from a very deep place that I don't have words for. I don't know how to tell you how I feel easily because I'm going to attempt to do it. It has to do with the deep, 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 deep knowing of things. Not the superficial knowing of things, but the deep understandings. It's like, again, I feel this hole in my throat and it just is like coming all the way from like the core, the center of the earth. There's just like this really big, this is something wants to express itself, but I can't get it up there yet. So, but it has to do with knowing, because you see, we have to be impeccable. We have to be now all of these things that we have worked so hard to become. We have to be all of these things that we've worked so hard to understand and to know the truth about. I just got that rush again. It's like, there is something so profound about this. It's like, and I'm going to repeat myself because the energy is repeating itself. It's like closing the gap, covering that last bit of territory, making it seamless. I have always wanted to know things well. You know, just like when I open my mouth or go to do, I always want to do things and speak of them well. Well, meaning fully. How do we fully become? How do we fully understand the truth? And how do we fully love ourselves? Fully love ourselves. There is a thing about loving ourselves that's just, there's going to be a lot of sound effects on this tape. There are, like the tape of sound effects. Love. I would like us to get to that place of understanding, that place of feeling like an infant wrapped in a soft, warm blanket after having a wonderful bath, put on really sweet and soft little nighties, wrapped in our blanket and held and rocked so sweetly by love. I would like for us to feel that way about love, holding us, caring for us, nurturing us. making us safe. Feel it, not to know it as in the saying of it, but to feel the truth of it, to feel that embrace, to feel the warmth of it. I speculate that what just happened there is like a prelude to how do we heal our sexuality. I know, left field, but no, it isn't. Because what I just got from that, as I was standing here with my eyes closed, was that feeling is a part of the truth about our sexuality. That love is a part of the biggest part, the biggest truth about our sexuality. Learning and understanding what that means. How does it feel? Now, that's kind of a sidebar because we're going to do a thing on sexuality, not this evening, but it just came to me. It floated in like that. Okay, because you're human beings, I'm going to start the way you have to start with human beings. We'll start with some conceptual stuff to get you engaged. When you love yourself, what does it feel like exactly? It's a feeling thing, this love for self. What does it feel like in its fullness? What does it feel like? I think there are going to be some essay questions. I want to know, I have a need to know, what does it feel like when you love yourself? Is it embraceable? Okay. Integrity, honor, respect, being real and telling the truth. Let's go there. What does that mean? What does that mean when I say I love myself and I'm doing those? What am I doing? What am I participating in? How does it feel? How does integrity feel? How does honor and respect, being real and telling the truth? Do we know how that feels? Because I have a strong sense that we need to know how that feels in order to be able to walk it. The walk is connected to the feeling. And when I say walk it, I mean in the very fiber of your whole being, that every time you take a step and every time you move a tendon and you move a foot, you feel it in your whole body. You feel it. It's a sensational thing. It isn't just up here, but it's all of you. And the reason I know this is because there is a difference in how we will be moving in the world. There is a difference, and it's coming up on me, this difference, and I'm going to have the opportunity, I'm certain, very soon to try this out. I have a whole different take on how to walk in the world. I'm not sure yet how the world's going to take it, but something has shifted so dramatically for me. There was a time when I was doing this work, like almost all the time, up until recently, that I found it very uncomfortable sometimes to explain to people what I did, particularly people who were not coming to be interested in it, people out in third dimension, almost apologizing for the lack of being able to kind of get it across and trying to bridge the gap because I know you don't kind of understand it and oh well, never mind. Did that for many years. I've done that. But something is changing. It really is. It's changing. Because when I hear that, I overhear people doing that with different things, not just the work, but with different dynamics with people. I'm sort of listening to people say, well, so that this and this is okay, I'm doing that. And, I just want to make sure that they understand, or they get it, or they don't give us a hard time, or they blah, blah, blah. And you know what I'm realizing is that why are we accommodating they? If they are in the illness and we are talking about being well, why are we abandoning wellness to accommodate illness? And I'm asking those questions not like you should know, or, these are rhetorical questions. I'm asking them to lay them out. Not like we should be doing something different, but it's time to ask the question, why are we accommodating it? If we really believe that in loving ourselves, we get to be held like that infant in love. If we really believe that love takes care of us and supports us, then we have to begin believing and understanding that we have a walk that is based on that knowing. We're still making the transition from the walk that we used to have when we didn't have love doing that. We're kind of somewhere on the bridge, stepping out there a little bit as being ourselves in the face of, but making adjustments so that they don't. I feel like we're coming to a place where it's time to start recognizing that if love can do what love can do, that love has a way for us to be ourselves in love in the world. I am not certain at this moment what this all looks like, but I do know that it is upon us, and we are going to have to start walking love in the world. That's why it's very important to know what it means to love yourself, because your walking love in the world is you're walking you in the world. And so you can't compromise you without compromising love. You've become, you and love have become. So now you've got love. So if you want to talk about how you love, well, you get to experientially express that by how you behave towards yourself. There's no separation between you and love. You can't honor love and compromise yourself. So you got to make a choice. How are you going to do this? Sometimes, when I feel like this, I have to really take a look at and say, every time this moves and this movement out, it gets more and more radical. It really does. It gets more and more radical. And I realize that, I recognize that, and I recognize that I'm talking about third dimension, and I know what that's like. I do. So I'm not saying, oh, well, can be very challenging. But even in the knowing of that, I am still so moved to say, there is a place for us to walk now. There is a place for us, and we must start walking it. We must know that in our reality, if this person is disagreeable, or if this person is unwilling, there's going to be someone who agrees, someone who's willing. Mostly we interact with third dimension because we have to negotiate for things that we need, things we need to do. We know that spirit takes care of our reality. We know that as long as our intention is clear and we walk what's in front of us to do, our things get done. And we know that love ensures that. So we know we're not dependent on any one person in third dimension to deliver. If they're not the person to deliver, it must be someone else. So it's about realizing that, really realizing we don't belong to them. We're not linked by the same dynamic that we used to be. Our resources do not come from third dimension. Our abundance does not come from third dimension. Our dreams do not get fulfilled in third dimension. There is nothing there that has any power on the making or breaking of our lives or our reality. Zero power. Because third dimension is made up of human beings. And human beings they're just a variety. And they're in a variety of places with themselves and with their growth, and you never know who you're going to run into. You may run into one person who's just on the verge of awakening, and you give them the opportunity to make that step. You cannot define third dimension as being all a wasteland, because there are human beings involved. And where there are human beings, there is never a wasteland. So, part of this movement out in the world is starting to walk who you are so that people recognize you. So people can see who you are. Because, people can get really confused if you're doing the kind of third, fourth, fifth dimension shuffle. And it's like, okay, well, that was weird. Like they thought they saw you coming, and then you just did something different with you just hit it all and became one of them. And it's like, wow, okay. You see, we're going to be looking to see each other out in the world now. Now that we're going to be leaving Tucson and moving out into the greater wide reality of the planet, how will people see us if we hide? You know, it's going to be because we say who we are. And I'm looking forward to it because I really know that it's going to be a different dynamic than it's ever been. Because I really am so certain of who we are. And I'm really so certain of what we're here to do. And I'm really so certain of love that I am really certain that I will show up in the fullness of that. I want to ask questions. I want to know if people can cooperate. I want them to know if they can't, it's okay. That's fine. I don't have a need for any of them to be anything but who they are. And for those that can be honoring and respectful, great. And for those that can't, then they have to learn. But I don't have to teach them and undergo anything. And I can be on my way. I'm no longer willing to suffer. You know what it is? Suffer wanting to fit, or suffer wanting them to understand or me to understand or to belong, and all of that stuff is so over, you know, and I look forward to being very bright-eyed and bushy-tailed and telling people exactly who I am and what I want and what I do, you know. And this is a wonderful thing to be doing in the world, you know, to love people. I think it's marvelous. And when I want things in third dimension, this is what I'm asking you to support. Love for people. Do you have an issue with that? Okay, but it works for me. You know, I'm really not going to try and undercut the bigness and the truth of who we are and what we're about. So I'm challenging each one of you to begin looking at what your relationship to love is and how do you love yourselves. There is something splendid and sweet and wonderful about loving you. How do you do that?